I found this little drawing inside one of my old teacher notebooks yesterday, and suddenly I remembered something I wish I had done differently. I was trying to organize one of the dresser drawers in my bedroom. Nothing important, really, just old papers, a few cards, and little things I had not looked at in years. Then I found this notebook. I used to carry it with me when I was teaching. When I opened it, this little drawing slipped out from between the pages. The paper is faded now, the corners are folded, and the colors are not as bright as they used to be. I do not remember when I put it inside the notebook, and I do not remember exactly which one of my children drew it, but when I looked at it, I remembered a moment, a very ordinary moment, and I realized I may have missed more of it than I understood at the time. Back then, when the children were small, the days always seemed to move faster than I could keep up with them. I was teaching school during the day, and when I came home, there was still plenty waiting for me. Dinner had to be made, there was laundry to fold, homework to check, and things to get ready for the next morning. Robert had his own schedule too, especially during the busy school weeks. And after the house finally settled down for the evening, I would sit at the table with a stack of papers from my classroom and finish grading them. I do not say that to complain. That was simply what life looked like then. The house was full, the children needed things, Robert needed things, my students needed things, and most days I was happy to be the person they could depend on. But there was always one more thing waiting to be done, one more plate to wash, one more paper to check, one more small task I told myself would only take a minute, and sometimes those minutes added up faster than I realized. I want to be fair to the woman I was back then. I was a good mother. I know I was. I made sure the children had dinner on the table, clean clothes for school, and somebody sitting beside them when homework became frustrating. I remembered the school forms. I packed the lunches. I stayed awake when one of them was sick. I tried to keep the house running even on the days when I came home tired from taking care of other people's children. And I loved my babies more than I knew how to explain. I still do. But I was not a perfect mother. I was tired more often than I admitted. Sometimes my mind was already on the next thing before the moment in front of me had even finished. The laundry, the dishes, the papers waiting to be graded, something Robert needed for the next day. It was not because my children were unimportant. It was because everything felt important at the same time. And when everything needs your attention, sometimes the smallest moments are the easiest ones to miss. I think this drawing came from one of those afternoons. I had probably just come home from school. There may have been paper spread across the table, dinner starting on the stove, and a basket of laundry waiting somewhere nearby. That was usually how it was. And then one of my children came over to me with this little picture in their hands. They wanted me to look at it properly, not just glance at it, really look. I can almost picture the way they must have been standing there, waiting for me to notice the house, the crooked little people, the bright sun in the corner, and I am sure I smiled. I am sure I meant to be kind, but I was probably already thinking about the next thing I needed to do. So I said, "Put it on the table, sweetheart. I'll look at it in a minute." That was all. Nothing harsh, nothing cruel, just an ordinary sentence from a tired mother on an ordinary day. And the child probably set the drawing down and went off to do something else. Children do that. They trust that your minute will come, and I meant it. When I said, "I'll look at it in a minute," I truly meant that I would. But maybe dinner needed checking. Maybe the laundry was still waiting. Maybe I sat down with those papers from school and lost track of time. I do not know. That is the part I cannot quite remember. Somehow, the drawing ended up between the pages of this notebook. Maybe I looked at it later and placed it there to keep it safe. I hope that is what happened, but I cannot say for certain. And yesterday, sitting here with this faded little picture in my hands, I found myself thinking about that child waiting for my attention. I meant it when I said, "in a minute." I just do not know whether that minute ever came. I do not think parents mean to rush past these things. Most of the time, they are trying to take care of everybody. There is always something that feels urgent. Dinner needs to be made. The laundry needs folding. Somebody has homework. Somebody needs a ride. Somebody is calling from another room. And when you are in the middle of all that, A drawing can feel like something you will look at in a minute. A story can wait until after the dishes. A question can wait until the laundry is done. You tell yourself there will be time later, and usually there is. But the trouble is, those ordinary little moments do not announce themselves as important. They just pass quietly. Sometimes you are so busy taking care of your family that you forget to stop and notice them. Not because you do not love them, because you do. Because you are trying so hard to do everything right. And maybe that is why some of the smallest moments become the ones you remember most when the house is quiet. Back then, this house was never really quiet. There were school bags near the door, homework papers on the table, a basket of laundry waiting to be folded, something on the stove, something else that still needed to be packed for the next morning. Robert had his own schedule and the children had theirs, and somehow every room seemed to need something from me. At the time, I thought those days would go on forever. I thought there would always be one more shirt to wash, one more lunch to prepare, one more little voice calling, "Mom?" from somewhere down the hallway. And some days, I wished for a little more quiet, just a few minutes where nobody needed anything. But sitting here now, holding this drawing, I realize how quickly that noise disappeared. Back then, I thought I needed more quiet. I did not realize how quickly the noise would be gone. I spent so many years trying to keep everything running. The meals, the laundry, the school papers, the schedules, the little things that seemed to multiply faster than I could finish them. And I suppose I was proud of that. I wanted my family to feel safe. I wanted the children to have what they needed. I wanted the house to feel steady, even on the days when I did not. But sitting here with this drawing in my hands, I realized something. I was paying attention to the life I was building for them, but I did not always stop long enough to notice the life happening right in front of me. That does not mean I failed as a mother. I do not believe that. I loved my children deeply, and I did the best I could with the time and energy I had. But the years passed more quickly than I understood. I spent so many years trying to keep everything running, I did not always notice how quickly the children were growing up. I do not want any parent listening to this to feel guilty. That is not what I mean. You cannot stop everything every time your child wants your attention. Dinner still has to be made. Clothes still need washing. Work does not disappear just because your child has something to show you. Life is busy, and no parent gets every moment right. But every now and then, when you can, pause for 5 minutes. Look at the drawing. Listen to the story that does not seem very important. Ask one more question. Sit beside them for a little while, even if the dishes are still waiting. You do not have to make every moment special. You do not have to turn every afternoon into a perfect memory. Just try not to rush past all of them, because the small moments are often the ones you miss most when the house becomes quiet. I think I am going to keep this drawing where I can see it, not hidden between the pages of an old notebook anymore. The paper is faded now, the corners are folded, and I still do not remember exactly when it was given to me. But maybe that is why I should leave it here for a while. I am going to place it on the dresser, right beside Robert's photograph. The drawer can wait. The old papers can wait. I do not have to finish organizing everything today. Funny, I spent so many years believing that every small task needed to be done right away, but some things can wait. I only wish I had understood that a little sooner. Thank you for sitting with me, sweetheart. I hope you'll come back and sit with me again. Until next time, take care of yourself, and if somebody you love is waiting to show you something small, maybe give them a minute.